Ever since the 2008 financial crisis, businesses and individuals have increasingly sought to obtain the same legal services at lower costs, and Sumsion Business Law has developed a very successful model that benefits corporate clients. Microsoft, the software giant, pays millions in legal fees annually and has been taking steps to move away from traditional billing arrangements to reduce those fees. In the face of rising client expectations, Sumsion Business Law's creative use of paralegals stands out as a time-tested model to obtain customer satisfaction with excellent results. Since its founding in 2001, Sumsion Business Law has recruited undergraduate students to work with its very experienced attorneys on most of its legal projects. Dozens of the brightest young minds in the state of Utah have worked for several years at the firm, reviewing documents, conducting legal research, and drafting motions and memos. These paralegals then continue their legal education at some of the nation's most prestigious law schools. In the past year alone, Sumsion Business Law has sent paralegals to Stanford, Harvard, and Chicago, three of the top 4 law schools in the nation. This model, although unconventional, has saved hundreds of thousands of dollars for clients of the firm. Paralegals have worked extensively on all of the firm's biggest matters, from jury trials to mediation to business sales. The process is quite simple. First, the firm invests in the paralegals through weeks of upfront training. With the basics mastered, the paralegals then assist the experienced attorneys with their tasks and participate in staff meetings, client meetings, and continued training. Finally, the firm bills the paralegals to its clients at low rates, effectively passing savings directly through to its clients. To Sumsion Business Law, this creative solution symbolizes legal work at its finest, creating win-win situations for everyone. Clients benefit from lower fees for quality work. The firm retains happy clients, and the paralegals gain valuable experience to prepare them for their future careers. This abundance mentality is a hallmark of Sumsion Business Law, one of Provo, Utah's fastest growing law firms. In this insider exclusive network TV special, our news team meets with Steve Sumsion, managing partner at Sumsion Business Law, and Colby Gardner, managing paralegal at Sumsion Business Law, to go behind the headlines to learn more about their successful and innovative 21st century legal business model that benefits their clients. Here's Steve Sumsion, managing partner of Sumsion Business Law, highlighting some of those benefits.
At Sumsion Business Law, we have a model for our firm where we recruit top talent from our neighboring university, the largest private university in the nation, Brigham Young University, and we draw this talent in their sophomore, junior year and recruit them to come to be a part of our firm and incrementally get experience and exposure to the kind of legal issues that they will face after law school. And we train them to be able to draft documents, to do research, and to review information and collaborate with the rest of the 5 lawyers in the firm and other paralegals to help figure out solutions. Because this is a fact-intensive work, Steve, and it's very important to have bright minds contributing at various levels. And one thing we've been able to do is create an environment that is conducive to this young talent to be able to contribute early and develop a mindset, a state of mind to be able to identify issues, raise them, we collaborate, and then make recommendations. The reason we utilize this talent this way is to create value for our clients. We're one of the few business law firms that will take cases on a part contingency basis and focus on results, on generating a work product and a solution that works. And we have the confidence in our system where we bring this young talent in and cultivate it over the period of 1 to 3 years and give them the opportunity to contribute. They are valued members of our team. We sit in staff meeting together and we do mock trials, we do mock arguments and give them chances to advocate for one side or the other and give the others a chance to weigh in on the merits, both from a legal standpoint and a factual standpoint. It is tremendous experience for them. It's a tremendous win for our client to be able to provide that value at a cost-effective basis. What we find is the opportunity to interact with the client at times and to be a part of that assessment. We will bring them, these paralegals, in early to see how the client counseling progresses. And when issues arise, we have, they're sitting at their laptop making notes and documenting the conversation and helping to make sure that things get done. They don't get left on the side. We focus on the issues and the progress, and what happens is we're able to achieve results earlier and more effectively, and the client is served better by having this model of more cost-effective talent involved in the process.
This is the Insider Exclusive, live from Utah. It is my great pleasure to introduce Steve Sumsion and Colby Gardner to the show. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
We're here today talking about a unique business model that you set up, of which you are primarily the leader of that group, and that is the Sumsion Business Paralegal model, isn't it?
That's correct.
Tell our audience a little bit about what this is, Steve, how it works for you, how it works for your clients, and why you set it up to begin with.
Well, we happen to live next door, or have an office next to the largest private university in the United States, Brigham Young University, that has exceptionally talented individuals looking for experience before they go to law school. And so what we try to do is identify them in their sophomore and junior years, like Colby, and to bring them into the firm, let them gradually just get more and more exposure to the types of issues we deal with and build upon that experience until they are able to contribute more and more to the process of drafting documents, researching, doing discovery when we have dispute resolution, and actually preparing, drafting documents for consideration for our 5 lawyers.
Right. This is basically on-the-job training, isn't it?
Yes.
How do you recruit new people? Are you actively involved with recruiting people?
Yes, actually, I head our recruiting process.
And how do you do that? You have something at the placement center at BYU?
So we usually contact the BYU pre-law advisor, and we ask her to help us recruit. But we've done something a little unorthodox the past few months, is we've actually been contacting BYU students ourselves.
This is while they're undergrads there, correct?
For the most part, yeah. We have some that have just graduated and they have that intern before they head out to law school, and we like to have them as well. But typically around that sophomore, junior year is when we like to reach out and recruit them.
And I think I read that a lot of the on-the-job trained paralegal people that you have in your firm eventually end up going to law school, correct? Mm-hmm. Some of the best law schools in the country, correct?
Yes.
Do they come back?
Well, we haven't been doing this for long enough to really have them come back. And frankly, as a small firm in Provo, Utah, typically these are, they're going to some of the best law schools in the nation, and they have opportunities in large cities with large firms. And we anticipate after 10, 15 years, maybe they would want to come back to their roots and be a part of our firm. But frankly, we catch them at the very front end of their burgeoning career, legal career.
How does this benefit the client, Colby?
I would say that, and this may have been discussed earlier, but it helps to reduce substantially the cost to the clients. So although we are not attorneys, I think we can very clearly, and we should very clearly say that we are not attorneys as paralegals, but we do quality work. We train each of our paralegals to be able to draft any document within any case. And so with that being said, while attorneys do have a lot on their plates, we can assist them whenever they need assistance.
So when you have a new person who's never filed a motion before, not filed, but written up a motion or prepared documents, who checks those documents to make sure that they're accurate before they're submitted to them?
That's a great question. It typically goes through stages. We have whoever's starting on it does an initial draft, then we pass it up to someone who has more experience with drafting motions, and then we do maybe that for a couple stages, and then ultimately it's passed to an associate attorney, and then ultimately in the very end it's passed to Steve. And then once that's approved, we file.
Okay. How long have you been employing students to act as paralegals, trained paralegals?
Probably almost 20 years.
So it definitely works, right?
It does, and it's been a progressive process. One of the most meaningful ways we involve paralegals is in a roundtable analysis of the facts. And so many times we have document-intensive cases that require going through a stack of documents and figuring out what's important. And it's helpful to have a first review from a paralegal to highlight and bring to our attention, much like a judge. I mean, having worked for a federal judge, the judge would look to a recent graduate of law school to ferret out what's important in the case and bring that forward and have some dialogue with the judge about what's important. We do the same kind of thing with paralegals to get them involved in the documents and then to talk through it with other lawyers or myself.
Right. How many paralegals are in the firm right now?
So it ranges, we have about 10.
Compare the process of on-the-job training here versus some of the paralegal schools that people will go to become a licensed paralegal, right? There's licenses. Right?
There is.
What is the difference?
Big law might go through and use that kind of a career paralegal model where someone knows they want to be a paralegal throughout. What we try to do is take that minimum of 1 year to 3 year time period, more likely 1 to 2, but Colby's kind of an exception. But what we try to do is get the brightest and most dedicated wannabe lawyers and have that niche time frame where they're still in undergraduate studies, but they want to go to law school, and that is the sweet spot for our business model.
This must be a tremendous benefit before you go to law school, because you're all familiar with the documents already, correct?
Yeah, I attended a law school class just a couple weeks ago as part of an interview process. And while sitting in the class, it was a third-year law school class. Yeah. I was able to follow along with what the professor was talking about, in huge part due to the training that we go through here as part of our paralegal onboarding process.
Kind of walk us through a person who is an aspiring lawyer, comes to work for your firm. What is the process for them to get up to speed so that they're pretty good paralegals?
So as paralegals, throughout the past few years, we've developed a training schedule. We've developed a training manual where we share our experience, we share our mistakes, as well as our successes, so that we can all be able to follow in a very successful path. So from the beginning until we're fully trained, we begin with simply going over how the filing process works. Then we go through, how do you draft a motion? How do you draft a pleading? What needs to be on that? How should you communicate with attorneys? What is our position within the firm? And really hammering that down. Mm-hmm. And then we move from that to the more specialized, how is it that you perform quality legal research? And that is probably the majority of our training is how to perform quality research, because we are assisting the attorneys in almost every aspect of what they're doing.
So you're teaching them how to shepherdize a case, correct?
Exactly. Yep.
So today, I look behind us and we see all these books. Nobody uses these books anymore because you have access to databases, correct? What kind of databases, when you want to look for precedent-related cases, do you access? These are subscription services, correct?
Correct.
What kind of databases do you use?
So we've used LexisNexis. We also use currently, and the majority of what we use is Westlaw. So on Westlaw, each of us have our own access, and we're able to go from there and do our own legal research.
And you can type in keywords and they'll bring up related cases, right?
Yes, and that's part of that training process, is being able to know how to use those so that we don't waste our clients' time or money.
I can tell you, having gone to law school myself, that it's very useful to have this kind of training, because then you're able to understand, precedent-setting cases. How do you call it?
Stare decisis.
Because that's how our legal system is based on, I think. Is it still anymore? I'm just kidding. But your cases primarily are business cases, are you?
Primarily business.
What do you find interesting about business cases?
I love that a simple contract that can seem so plain and so clear can be so ambiguous, and that you can find the small little details here or there, a simple comma that can change the entire meaning of a sentence within a contract.
Yeah. Do you know why that's true? Because contracts are not mathematics.
Yeah.
Yeah. 1 and 1 will always be 2. Not so in a contract. Right?
That's true.
If you were recruiting somebody right now, what would the process be? What would you look for? You're looking for people who are pre-law. Oftentimes that's political science or any of the humanities, right?
Correct. Yes, humanities mainly.
How do you find, because nobody identifies himself as, they can say a pre-law at BYU, but how do you find and contact those people? Do you give recruitment?
So we've sent out flyers and posters. We've contacted, as I said before, the BYU pre-law advisor. But what we look for in those candidates, because quite honestly, we receive dozens and dozens of applications at any given time for even one paralegal position that we may have open. But we really look for quality of experience that they've had. Have they had any legal experience? If so, great. If not, we want to be the first to be able to provide that for them. We look at what majors they've been majoring in to be able to get a feel for their personality. And then in the interview process, this is the majority of that interview decision, is figuring out, do they fit well with the firm? Do they have the potential? Do they have the craving to be able to make the most of their opportunity here? And that really is what we use for making our decisions.
And how many people have you recruited since the time you've been here 2 years?
Yeah. I've recruited about 14 paralegals.
And some of them have gone on to law school, huh?
Yes. Yeah. One right now is at BYU with a full tuition scholarship. Right. The first one that comes to my mind right now.
Right. Right off the top of your head, did you know the difference between a full service law firm using trained paralegals, using their rates, charging clients? What's the difference in cost percentage-wise compared to your?
I would say there's at least a 30% discount that flows with that, being able to use that model. I mean, frankly, there's much that we can do on a fixed price basis because of the predictability of some of this. Litigation is more difficult in that realm, but there are a variety of ways to approach this. I mean, frankly, we're one of the few firms that will take business cases on a part contingency.
That must be attractive to business owners, because generally they have to pay by the hour.
Correct.
What is your advice to anybody who's watching this show about contacting Sumsion Law and working here?
You will receive quality results for cost-effective payment. It's as simple as that. The structure that we have, the paralegal system that we use, as well as the top caliber attorneys that we have, nothing compares.
And final parting words?
There are so many ways to tackle a problem, and I think the creativity and the use of the talent that we have at the major schools around the nation. I mean, right now we have a second-year law student on full scholarship at the University of Chicago that's been with us for 3 or 4 years that still loves working with us because of the quality opportunity to help solve problems at cost-effective rates. And it is really working out to be mutually beneficial and providing a service to clients at a very competitive basis.
All right. Any last words?
I agree with Steve 100% on that. I think what we offer as paralegals, like he said, we do come from some of the best and the brightest backgrounds. What you are receiving is the best of the best work that we can provide. The attorneys do check our work. And so as paralegals, you're not just simply getting someone who is a simple college student doing work for you. You are getting great cost-effective solutions from the best of the best.
Well, that's why we're here today, because you guys got a great reputation and obviously it's working and your clients love you. So thank you both for being on the show.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. You can get more information about our guest and the issues at insiderexclusive.com.